Well, excited to be with you. It means that we're very close, and we are close. We're 13 days away from our first game, 12 days away from getting on a plane and going out to Oregon State. Of course, you never feel like you're totally ready, but I know we are ready to go compete against somebody in the score count. We've had 2 good scrimmages, learned a lot from those opportunities. I've enjoyed the effort and the intent of this group. Of course, we've got to just become more and more experienced and get some live action where we can evaluate and continue to get better and better. But and on a personal note, thrilled to be here in Tulsa. I know many have asked and appreciate everybody. Family settled in, boys are in school, but now it's getting straight to business time with this season. So if anybody has any questions, let's go.
Just talk about the process of the team kind of coming together and picking up on your system and what you've been trying to implement. How are they receiving that?
Well, I think, again, I mentioned the word intent earlier. Their intentions have been great, and their effort has been really, really good. Of course, the execution piece is the one that you keep working on, and that's ongoing. That's forever. There's people in the NBA that have played many, many years, and they're trying to execute better too. That connection with the little experience that we have, the 5 newcomers that we also have, that process is going to be ongoing. And then in finding the ways that we can be best, there's some staples that we've implemented. There's some things that we absolutely want to be great at. There's statistical measures that we're making every day in practice and in the 2 scrimmages we've had. And we've been inconsistent. And we talk all the time about being great is being consistently really good, and we're searching for that consistency.
What are those things you absolutely want to be great at?
So the things that we're measuring in practice is, first, from a defensive standpoint, we want to be a team that's contesting 70% of the shots. To do that, you've got to be able to take care of the basketball too. If you're turning it over, teams are getting easy shots, layups, open threes, and that's a surefire way not to contest shots. And then we want to be great on the glass on both directions. Even though we're not very big, we feel like there's things that we can control. Regardless of size, we can block out. Regardless of size, we can really crash on the offensive end and find extra ways to get more possessions. And those are the things that we're measuring most often. Of course, we want to be a high assist team and low turnover team as well.
Nathan? How confident, I guess, can you be just through practices and preseason camp of, I don't know, how good your team is, how good a particular player is, until the games actually start? How much more do you learn when that happens?
Well, you learn a lot, Nathan, when the games are played, and every game is different too, and that's, I think, the beauty of this game. It's why, of course, I'm biased. I think it's the greatest game there is, but there's so many different ways to play this game: small, big, zone, man, fast, slow, so many different ways, and we're going to be able to see how we adjust to that. The 2 teams we scrimmage, very, very different. And it was good to see how we adjusted and got better as the game went on. The thing I am most confident with is we're going to play hard. We're going to play really, really hard, and that works. That expectation is every single day, and our guys have really gravitated towards that.
I know, obviously, home court advantage, home court crowd is important to a program. Last year, they struggled with getting people into the arena. How do you kind of try to turn that around, and how important is that to you?
Home court crowd is absolutely important. I mean, I've seen it here firsthand when I was here the first time around, and anywhere in college basketball, you know how important it is to have everybody pulling in the same direction. We said it early, and we're saying it often. We want to be the city's team. We want to have a group of young men out on this court that people can, one, relate to, that people know, myself included, people that want to cheer for. And then, of course, we want to put a product out on the floor that's fun to watch, but also is a winning style. And those are things that we're working on and developing. But our entire staff and everybody in this program, we're working very hard to get to know people in this community so they feel connected and want to come out and support.
Coming in with 2 returning starters, how's the process going of determining those other 3 and how they're coming together?
So in our scrimmages and even in practice, we chart lineups. We try to figure out which lineups are doing best overall, what's our best offensive lineups, defensive lineups. And again, those things will continue to develop and evolve because guys will get better. And we'll see, especially against outside competition when the games count, because some teams will shorten their lineups and so forth. But we're looking at a number of different combinations, from small groupings to bigger groupings to just what is our best lineup for man-to-man defense and switching man-to-man defense, full court pressure, half-court man, just staying there. So we've got a number of things that we're trying to look at, and much of that evaluation, John, is going to come from when we're playing games.
Coach, in college athletics, first-year coaches don't always find success. Excuse me. You in Louisiana Tech, actually, your first 2 seasons there, had 23-10 records. What are you, maybe 1 or 2 things, bringing with you here to ensure that same type of success in your first seasons here?
Well, any team that I've ever been a part of, head coach, assistant, even as a player, was very fortunate to be in a system, in an organization that we're very process driven, where the score would take care of itself. And what we're focused on now is just what are those foundational things that we want to absolutely be non-negotiables. And it's coming every day with great energy. It's being totally committed regardless of where you are on the team, and doing things in a first-class manner. And we want to focus on those things with our young players, with our older players. And if we get great at those, if we can be elite at those things that we can control, I think the score will take care of itself. What does that mean for this team? Well, we'll see. We just want to always be better than what people think we'll be, whatever that might mean, and just keep getting better and better every day.
Player, most of your fans are most familiar with would be Sam Griffin. How do you see him fitting into your system? What are the expectations for him this season?
Yeah, Sam is 4th year in college. He's seen a lot, and again, this has been change for him. But I think you're going to see a guy that's very, very motivated to have his best season, and his best season equates into a great season for TU men's basketball. I know that he obviously can really shoot the basketball in everything that we've done, from live play to scrimmages to shooting drills and competitions. The guy can really shoot it. I know he's motivated to become a great player on the ball, off the ball, on the defensive end, just do a lot of different things, and we're counting on him to be that guy.
Is he one of the leaders in that locker room, and who else? Who is already, an established voice for you?
Well, there's a number of guys, and what we've done is we say that everybody in the program is a leader. There's degrees of leadership. There's leading by example. There's leading by voice. There's leading by just your presence and energy. There's experience that comes with that leadership as well. But, Sam is certainly one of those guys. Anthony Pritchard being a guy who's a point guard and the ball in his hands a lot, and he's got that way about him, that competitive fire that we're also really trying to establish within everybody in the program. But then there's a number of guys that have been in this program and are very motivated, but even in our new guys, I've given leadership responsibilities to everybody in certain degrees.
Kevin, what's it been like to coach a player whose family and from a place that's at war?
First time ever for that. And, with Nikita, it's, first of all, he has a tremendous outlook, and it puts so many things in perspective. We're trying to get better in basketball every day, and we're trying to, this is really a big centerpiece of what we're all trying to do. We're talking about it. But then you put in perspective of what a young man is going through, and what his family, what his countrymen are going through. And for him to come every day with a smile on his face and be as positive as he is, I think that's an incredible, incredible attribute. He's gone through some things personally. I know this is his father passed away recently, not war related, but the fact that he couldn't go back, just your heart pulls for a guy like that. And so to just try to support him any way we can, and so many times words aren't enough, but we're just going to wrap our arms around him constantly and be a big support system. And TU and Tulsa in general has been awesome in that regard.
Coach, obviously your staff has been together for a while, but you guys are new to town here. I know when we talked in June, you said that was one of the things you're really focused on is your staff growing those relationships with the players. How would you say that's been done over the last couple months?
Well, we feel really good about it, and I know our players have commented on how close and connected that our staff is, and you can feel that we're really all pulling in the same direction. And my management style and the way that we organize our staff is, of course, I'm the head coach and I'm making final decisions, but we're really collaborative. We call it being interdependent, and we want to really work with one another and have honest discussions and conversations. We've got a very, very experienced staff, but a group of guys that are special coaches individually, but more than anything, they really care about our players. They care about their development, they care about their well-being, they care about how they're doing academically, socially, how things are going back home. So we spend an extraordinary amount of time with our guys. I know two of our coaches are meeting with players right now. It's what we love to do, and that's why we're here. And that trust and that confidence and the ability to talk to one another, all those things are ongoing, and we love every part of that process.
Yeah, if you're talking about point guard, you mentioned Pritchard, but who else is in the mix there? And just talk a little bit about the position.
Well, we talk all the time about, there's three people that can't have bad days. I can't have a bad day, and your best player can't have a bad day, and your point guard can't have a bad day. And the point guard is really the head of the snake, if you will. And we've got to be able to have great point guard play. And many times there's more than one on the floor. Brandon Betson, a newcomer, he's going to play the point as well. But then anytime a guy's got the ball in his hands, we talk about, hey, you're the point guard in that moment, whether it's in the post, it's on the wing, all those types of things. So we're talking about decision-making all the time. We want to play fast, we want to play aggressively, but we don't want to play reckless either and just have the ball in the third row where fans are paying attention because they're worried about the ball hitting them in the head. So we've got to take care of it, but guys like Anthony Pritchard, Brandon Betson, Sam Griffin, they're going to be in playmaking positions a lot, and they've got to be great with the ball.
John? On social media, you've been naming a player of the week so far. Every last few weeks, I've noticed. I noticed this past week it was Tim. Just what, without there being games, what goes into a guy being named player of the week, and why was it Tim this week?
So I started this probably, I think, 6 seasons ago, and really what happened is I was looking for a way to grade practice in a way. We stat everything. I love numbers. I think numbers tell a story. Numbers can also really enforce what your eye may see. And I had a player many years ago who was a good player, but I didn't think he was a great practice player. And when I'd have discussions with him, it became very opinionated. And so I decided, well, I'm just going to stat everything. And we call it our Kane way. And so we'll have a Kane of the week. And so there's a statistical model from, shots taken, shots missed, assists, rebounds, hockey assists, the pass that leads to the assist, your team winning, deflections, charges get a high point value. So just a number of different things. And then at the end of the week, we'll add them all up. And as long as whoever's got the leading score, as long as that person wasn't late for anything or missed any appointments, then they're the Kane of the week. And they'll wear a slightly different jersey than everybody else. And then they'll wear that for that next week. And as long as they stay on time and do everything, they can keep it the rest of that week. So it's really it's a high standard, and it's a way for us to evaluate and set a tone. And the guys compete like crazy. I mean, they're 18 to 22 years old, and they are competing like crazy for that jersey.
Like a coat of many colors? What's the jersey look like?
Well, I'll tell you, Kate, it was so my previous school, we wore white and blue as our two main colors on the reversible jersey, and then we had a gold alternate, of every size, and then so the player could wear that. But our jerseys here are gold and blue reversibles, and so it's white. So instead of where it would be gold, it's white. And so we used to call it the gold standard, but I guess now it's the platinum standard.
I know that in all sports, right, like analytics has become just a much bigger deal. a lot of the numbers, like you mentioned, 70% contested shots. Are these new to your players, or were these things that they were kind of anybody in the college basketball world is sort of familiar with? Are you presenting them with some new ways of looking at some of these things?
I think so. You know, I don't really ask them so much if they've experienced things before. We just talk about, here's the standard that we're setting, and let's go after it. And, you know, many, many years ago, when I played for Coach Bo Ryan at Wisconsin Platteville, we would do possession games, and instead of just having the score up on the scoreboard, he'd have a manager and go down your paper and what were the points and what were the possessions, and it was really focused on that. And so when I was with Coach Larinaga for a number of years, we brought to the fact when we play half-court possession games, we put up on the scoreboard. So we just talk with our players about what good is. What does good really mean? Because good is not just dunking on top of somebody one time. Again, we talk about being consistently good. And what are those measures? Well, you may play a team that's used to playing 50 possessions a game one night and then play another team that's used to playing 80 possessions. Well, that overall number may be different. So we talk about percentages a lot. If we can get 77% of defensive rebounds, that'll put us top 20 in the country. If we'll get 36% of potential offensive rebounds, that'll put us top 20 in the country. If we turn it over 15% of the time, that'll put us top 20 in the country. Now, those are lofty goals, and if we do all three of those things every night, we're going to be in great shape. But I do think that there's a level of things that we can control in those three stats on top of contest percentage that we calculate ourselves.
And I guess a better way of asking what I meant to say is, do you see them like getting that and responding to it? Like a light goes on and they're striving for those things in a way that, you know, you'd like to see.
Well, we've seen measurable improvement, so I'd like to say yes. Now, again, improvement's never in a straight line. I mean, there's our first scrimmage, we rebounded it great, and the second scrimmage, not so much, and then, you know, we gotta keep building up. But I think the stats can get a little bit lost sometimes on the overall. We're early in it, but we have post-game reports and presentations for our team every single game, and they'll just hear it over and over and over again of what standard that we want to try to achieve.
Bruce? Coach, you know, size obviously is important, maybe not so much in certain situations, but, you know, you have Nikita's good size, you have Tim Dalger, who's got decent size, and then you have two young guys that are, you know, obviously with some size in Charles and Bryant. And then everybody else kind of like that swingman type size. So how do you view that, and are you concerned about it?
I'm always concerned, Bruce. No matter how big we are, how small we are, I think there's, and I just refuse to think anything other than there's still a way to win. There's ways to lose too. And we've got to be able to maximize what we have. I've had teams in the past that were huge, and there's certain things that concern you with that. But there's no question. I think the number one thing you think of size is how are we going to defend and rebound by the basket? And we've got to find different ways of doing that. It could be doubling the post. It could be doubling it big to big from the guard. Like, we're looking at a number of different things. We're looking at playing with a certain level of tempo to try to make sure that an opponent's size has to guard us and is put in a tough position too. So, and then of course we've got to play bigger than what we are, and we're asking that. A guy like Sterling Gaston Chapman, he has caught our eye with just how aggressive and intense that he's been. He has been a person who is attacking the glass with an incredible amount of intensity. And those are the types of things that we want to just continue to become contagious among our group and play bigger than what we are.
And did you find so far in practice, you know, you talked about intent and then intensity. Is that something that you may hang your hat on, the scrappiness, you know, of this team, especially defensively?
Yes, and that needs to be. Again, we're looking to build a program, and a program that has staying power, a program that there are certain characteristics that, regardless of team, you just see every year. And we talk about being gritty, nasty, and tough. We want to be great guys outside the lines, but inside the lines have a grittiness where there's a passion and a perseverance that our fans can feel. but then also just that toughness that you know that comes from being a team that's really together, and then just downright nasty. So it's kind of a way to say 3 words that really complement one another and emphasize how we want to be.
For more information, you can visit tulsaworld.com.